Hello and welcome to my channel. Well, I am getting back into knives. Sorry, my voice went wacky. Uh, a viewer has commented, Glenn. He made a comment, asking about the Wasp series, and I thought I had more of these, but I think what's happened is, um, I probably bought. I thought I had the Barlow in the Wasp series, but I don't. But Rough Rider will do this thing where they they produce a knife and you think, oh, okay, it's just different colored G10 handles. That's all they're coming out with. It's just another, whatever they call it. In this case, we have a, a moose. We have a moose. Um, and you think that's it. This is the Pipe Doctor. Now, I looked at it on SMKW's website, because they're the ones that make Rough Riders and everything. And they're having a sale on a lot of these. And I think this one's only like about $13. I need to get another one because I use this thing all the time. Mainly this little, because it's not sharp. I use this as like a little marlin hook, a marlin spike. I mean, for paracord, small paracord, and stuff like that, and cleaning out channels. Man, I tell you, you just put paper towel with a little bit of oil on it or something like that, and traditional knife channel. See all that gunk in there? I haven't cleaned this one out. You just see how it fits. I mean, it's perfect. It's better than a toothpick. I mean, I've tried toothpicks; they break all the time. It's better than a brush. I mean, sometimes they brush. Compressed air might be better, but unless you got an air compressor and you're buying canned air all the time, I like things that you can use and use and use and not have to spend a lot of money on. Compressed air. Sooner or later, you're gonna fix that compressor. This will always work. This method here, even without, see, it's getting gunk out of there. And you'll pick up stuff like that, pocket lint, even if you're just lying around. I've got a box next to my recliner, and it just picks up stuff on it. But I always leave this one sitting right out here just like this because I don't mind this guy sitting a little bit proud because it just makes it so easy to grab it. And I use this a lot, man, a lot. Now I don't cut a lot with it. Now what I was getting back to on the patterns, where you think they're all the same, these are in VG10 steel. Uh, Now the people that poo-poo Rough Rider for 440A all the time, that's also a good steel for traditional steel, I think. All this is personal in what you think. Don't let an expert sit there and tell you that 8CR13 MOV is junk or 440A is junk steel. It all depends on the application. It all depends on what it's being used for. You tell me a time when you used a traditional knife so much that it became dull. It was sharp and it became dull from your just daily regular use. And you know what I'll tell you? You're probably using the wrong tool for the job. If you know it's gonna dull out and everything, and it's a big issue with you about edge retention, get one in D2. Marbles makes some traditional knives in D2 pattern, inexpensively. They're not charging you a lot for it. And D2, if it's done right, holds an edge longer than 440A. But the advantage to these steels that are softer they're easy to sharpen. You know, I think that's a big fallacy of the super steel thing and everything is you're trying to get a steel that has an edge that is so perfect that it never dulls. That it never dulls. Think about that. I mean, that's what they're really trying to do. They're trying to achieve something that never dulls, never rusts. It's always sharp. I mean, eventually maybe they will, but it probably won't be made out of steel. It'll be made out of some, new metal we found on asteroids or something. It has special properties, but there's a give and take to everything. I don't mind sharpening knives, you know. But anyways, getting back to this particular pattern, I need to get more. I need to get more of these because I thought I had that. And that's the problem with, I think, Rough Rider and a lot of different series, is that, let's say you like a particular pattern. Ooh, this is pretty cool, copper swirl and everything else, and you buy one or two examples of a particular type that you like, and then all of a sudden you realize, man, this is really unique. I mean, it's not super unique. Spyderco had something kind of similar, but I mean, if you look at it, it is unique. You know, I mean, no two are alike, and that's not easy to find on production model things that cost like less than $20. You know, I mean, these are easily inexpensive. So what happens is you'll get one or two, you'll say, all right, um, what is this one? Copperhead. Yeah, it's a copperhead. I'm going to get it in a pattern that I like. Copperhead. All right? I'm going to get it in a copperhead pattern. And I'm going to come back later and I'm going to get some. I think I have a cub that's in this stuff. But anyway, you start going back later on and checking, and guess what? The Not all of them are available. Some of them sell out right away. And for those people that like to be on a budget and collect and everything, now you have to go to alternate source. You know, usually SMKW is my main source for Rough Riders to check for availability and price and everything because they make them. You know, my secondary source is Chicago Knife Works because they sell them. And a lot of times they sell them for less than SMKW does. But you have to factor in uh, shipping. Sometimes, sometimes it's cheaper, even though it looks like it's more expensive to go with SMKW. It's cheaper to go with them. Used to be, you can factor in other things like maybe you're adding it to another order, of something else. They sell more than that, than Rough Riders there. But that's the problem with the series. And in my particular situation, a lot of times I buy the series that I like and give them away, and then later on I'm looking like, when Glenn says, I really like this series and everything, I go, well, I'll get all mine together, and I start looking at it, and sometimes I hide, like I'm I'm keeping Barlow's in a Barlow box, so even though it's a pattern, this has got some gunk on it, I can see. It'll come off. Also, if you ever get any of these where you don't like the coloration and everything, you can experiment with it with scraping off, like if it's too black. Sometimes they mess stuff up with their colorations, but I mean, this one turned out fine. And it kind of looks like a wasp. I've had experience with wasp recently. I'll put a little picture of those red wasp. I know that yellow jackets, the ones that this is getting close to looking like yellow jackets. Man, those suckers are nasty. And the difference between a bee and a wasp is a bee dies when it stings you. I mean, when he pulls away, part of his stinger, is attached to his body, and it kills him eventually. So they can only sting you once. It still has a muscle, and it's pumping venom into you, but uh, a wasp can sting you multiple times, and it doesn't hurt them at all. It's like spitting on you. It doesn't hurt you at all to spit. You'll replenish it eventually. uh, but these are cool, and it's in BG10. Now, there are other series that are in like 440B. You might say, oh, 440A, 440B, there's not much difference. If you're chasing the slight difference, in edge retention and stuff, that might appeal to you. But on any of these steels, there's a spectrum of, like toughness and corrosion resistance and edge retention. And, I think Blade HQ had a pretty good matrix where you could look at it, and you could kind of figure out where does your steel fit as far as these different factors, corrosion resistance and all that other stuff. There's a difference between toughness and hardness, I mean. But anyway, you can get deep into the woods on that. I mean, you're gonna have to have a PhD in metallurgy, to figure out a lot of this other stuff, or go to some real experts. That's the thing. There's a lot of armchair experts on. I'm no expert on a lot of this stuff. All I know is from experience. And like I said, here we go. There's another old man story. When I was growing up, all we had was carbon steel and stainless steel. I mean, really, that's as far as we knew about it, and that's as far as we cared to know about it. One required that you take care of it with oiling, and the other one wasn't always stainless steel, and it wasn't, a lot of times back then, it wasn't as sharp as, it didn't hold an edge as well as carbon steel, because they were using surgical steel, stuff that people would really poo-poo nowadays, and for good reason. But it was miraculous back then. Why? Corrosion resistance is kind of important, if you run into water, moisture, you're not always going to be able to wipe sometimes it's going to be by accident. You're not always able to wipe your knife down. Sometimes moisture gets into an area you thought was dry, or should have been dry. Ask the knife right here that was in that sheath about that. It was in the back of a Jeep, it had a hard top on it and everything, and it should have been dry. I thought it was dry. Most places were dry. Places I were always in was dry, but man, I never seemed to go back there and pull that back end of the Jeep out open a lot. I'd either go through the back seat, or I didn't seem to do that a lot, and that's where the leak was. So stainless steel is great. VG10 is great. Spyderco used that steel in their knives quite a bit, and a lot of these knives where people, like I said, are just poo-pooing it because some expert said that everything below this is junk. Well, if you've tried it and it is junk for you, then that is a more valid reason to reject that steel than if you've never tried it, or you just are very hesitant to try that steel, simply because armchair expert number 5 said that this is, anything below this category is junk. And I hear that a lot, and it's like, all right, if this is all you had, and back in my day, man, this would be worth a lot more than what you're paying for it now, I tell you. I mean, it wasn't even available a lot of it. It might be a custom thing or something. I don't know. Anyways, America did make some good knives, and we made some junk knives and stuff too. I mean, it's you can be patriotic all you want. I'm a patriotic person too, but I don't let it go beyond reason. I mean, if a knife it's like Patty's potato peeler was saying this also. I have the same philosophy. I don't care where the knife is made as long as it's made well. Now, you start factoring in different political things and everything, and again, I'm buying the knife because I like the way it looks and the way it performs, and I'm not, I don't like the Chinese government, I think the Chinese people are probably decent. Most of them are probably decent people, Most of them are hard workers. And I doubt if it's so draconian as people paint it out to be, like they're slaves chained to their machines. He's just sitting there grinding, and he's just, please, master, can I take a break? No, you can't. You're in China. We have no laws. We're holding your children hostage. They've got guns to their heads, and, you better work. There is no, overtime pay or anything else. You're a worker bee, and you will obey. I don't think it's that drastic, man. I really don't. But it's not up to me to decide all these political things, man. If this is available for me to buy in my country legally, then I'm gonna buy it. Sorry. I'm not gonna get all into this. Well, the blue paint made in this flashlight that you're buying right here was made in China. Let's hold. flashlight was made in China. It's one of the old school, when they, look at their LEDs, when they first came out. It's an Oracle. I wonder if it is made in China. Patented worldwide. Oracle Industry USA Company Limited. Read about limited LLCs sometimes. But anyways, there you go. Sorry I got on a big rant, but that's the way it happens. I appreciate comments from my viewers, like bringing me back on track, but you just got to realize sometimes that when things start happening to me, I'm caught up in it, man. I mean, if I start enjoying scooters and bikes, you're going to see some videos on scooters and bikes. I'm going to try to combine knives and stuff with it. I have another knife to review right here that was sent by an anonymous viewer, and again, these are excellent. This is an excellent company, and it's nice to support this country right now. BPS knives, carbon steel, 1066, made in Ukraine. I am trying to get back to knives and stuff. Like I said, I am trying to incorporate in it, but like I said, this is going on with me too. I can't avoid this, even though I'm retired. My life happens, and like I said before, I don't care how good you are or how well protected you think you are, or secure or whatever. Trouble will find you whether you like it or not. Sometimes you bring it onto yourself, and sometimes it goes looking for you. When I was young, I used to go look for trouble. I know better. Peppy hasn't learned yet. Anyways. Hello and welcome to Lake Bardwell and Wasp Nest area number 1. Yeah, it's nice out here. There's, once again, no one, absolutely no one in this park but me. It comes from around that hill over there. It goes down this way. You can see there are a bunch of picnic benches. Some of them originally had poles on them, but awnings on them, but I think a hurricane came through and messed them up, and they never replaced it. Because if you do an awning, you've got this to contend with, but as long as you don't mess with it too much, should be alright. Alright, once again, I brought entirely too much crap with me, but I would like to thank this video dedicate this video to Glenn. Glenn, has endured my ordeal with the electric bike, as many of you had, and he said, now that it's over, can we get back to Rough Riders? Yes, yes we can. And he wanted to do the Wasp series. So the other night I started doing a video, and I was still bitter, and it was just coming out through the video, and I was getting off track, and I told myself, you know what, you need to redo this, and you need to redo it with a better background, better location, less clutter. Look, there's no clutter. Look at my table's not cluttered. And yeah. See, now he's coming down to investigate. As long as I don't do any sudden motions or attack mode or anything like that, I should be alright. But I put them in here somewhere, one of these containers, so I didn't bring a tripod or anything with me, and I really have needed to get out because there's just been too much drama going on for my liking lately. Too much drama. What do we got? Seasoned butter beans. I'm going to open that up with something special. Alright? Something special. Flask. You got any flasks on you, sir? We got a little bit of everything in here. I don't know if I'm going to eat those butter beans. I'm not all that hungry. But I got some crackers. We can eat these crackers. Cheese and crackers. Buddy likes the cheese in that, by the way. He likes me to feed him. Not Buddy, Shadow. Shadow likes it. Buddy would eat it too. Luncheon loaf. See, I got plenty of food in here if I'm hungry. Crackers. Oh, at Dollar Tree they've got regular crackers, they're like Ritz crackers, and then they've got other crackers, and then these they call, this is a product of India. I didn't bring the package with me, but they call them vegetable crackers. And you would look at them and you go, vegetable, you know, but they've got a little kick to them. They got some chili powder in there. And, man, they're nice, man. I always add them to soup. I like them better than Ritz crackers now. So, what we're going to do today is, I brought my animal tracking and behavior thing. We're going to go down to the beach, and we're going to look at animal tracks and stuff like that, and try to identify them, or at least I'm going to try to identify them. And then, after that, we shall talk about knives. Okay, I brought the only Wasp series I have with me. Alright. Unfortunately, I don't have as many as I thought I had, or I would like to have. But let me take my helmet off, and I'm going to have to do a one-handed review. Because I didn't bring no tripod. You ain't bring no tripod? What the heck's wrong with you? I didn't bring Nigel with me either. I don't think. He's not in the backpack as far as I know. Well, let me just get started with this. Let me get my flask first. I'd just like to say that I try to keep my videos mostly knife related, but sometimes I get off into a tangent, you know, like I really like exploring with the e-bikes and everything. It gets me to areas that, I mean, this is 3 miles. It would be a 3-mile hike to get here. And I walk 2 miles usually. I can walk 2 miles with no problem, but not with all the crap I would try to bring. That's the difference. Walking 2 miles that way, and then I'd be here and I'd have to hoof it back. So a bicycle would be better, but still, my knees are not, even when I was in basic training, I had a problem with my right knee. I don't know what it was, but after running a certain amount of distance, man, it really hurts, and to this day, it still has a problem. All right, we might have a problem with wind. I'm just using the internal microphone, so I may have to edit over this, but I'll try to talk loud so that we can at least hear what I have to say. Alright, now I might edit in other parts of where I was talking about the pipe doctor on this one, because I really talked about it a lot. And this is a moose pattern that was donated to me, and right now, off the top of my head, I can't remember who donated it to me, but it reminded me. The reason why I got this one is, yeah, it's nice patterns. It's more of a yellow jacket. These are red paper wasp up here. They're not. They blend in very well with the rusty color background right here of this, you know. But the main thing is that they're using VG10 steel in this series. Now I have I took some photos, you know, and everything. Like I said, I'll incorporate the other portion of that. But let's walk down to the water line and see what's going on the shore. And I'm gonna leave most of this stuff up here except for flask and crackers, which are sitting over there. I'm gonna leave that can out in the sun. We may not have to even warm these suckers up. They may just heat up just sitting there. I know that flask does that, man. That sucker gets hot. Alright. I still got my yellow vest on and everything, but I don't care. It's got pockets in it. and it'll be convenient. All right, let's go down to the water line.